welcome to the show. Today we're pleased to have Bobbie Carlton, Director of Carlton PR and Marketing, also Director of Marketing for AMS, County Management Solutions, and Tyler Place Resorts in Vermont. Additionally, she's known to many of you as the creator and co-founder of Mass Inno, and we're happy to have her here today to talk about innovation in Boston. So,
thank you very much.
Bobbie.
And actually, we tend to think about Mass Inno or Mass Innovation Nights as MIN.
As MIN, yes. Hashtag MIN.
MIN, right. So we're right up against MIN 19.
So let's talk about innovation for a second.
Okay.
And how we got to 19. And so, innovation also is such a broad topic, right? And so you've had to define what that is. So talk to what is innovation to you, and how MIN thinks about it.
Okay, so let's just take a quick step back. And Mass Innovation Nights is a monthly product launch party and networking event. And it's also cross-industry. So I don't limit innovation to products. I don't limit innovation to a single industry. And I certainly don't limit innovation to technology, which is what a lot of people in this area do tend to think about when they think about innovation. So my events will have gourmet dog food next to medical devices, next to iPhone apps, next to enterprise software, next to devices. So we have a little bit of everything. We have also done some theme nights. We did innovation in food in August, and we also did green and clean tech in July. And we've also had some clusters of groupings of smaller industries.
So talk to me about the kind of the point where you said, this is what I want mass innovation to be, and how it's evolved or from that point in terms of what does it look like today off of the blueprint from the first.
Well, the blueprint's been very flexible, and we take learning from each event and apply that to the next one, so we're always changing things up and experimenting a little bit. But originally, Mass Innovation Nights was a visibility campaign for the Charles River Museum of Industry and Innovation. It was a way to get people in the door and learning about where the museum was, how to get there, walking through the door and saying, this is a cool place, I like it here. We were creating a new community for the museum. The museum actually used to do innovation days where they pulled out the old typewriters and printing presses and saying, look, it's the innovation of the past. And I said, well, innovation of the future, really cool stuff, get a lot of that interested community in through your doors. And so I started organizing it when I had a little bit of time on my hands after a startup I was working with ran out of money. And so I had been a really bad board member for about 3 years while I was immersed in that startup world. So when I poked my head up and looked around, I said, oh, the museum needs a little bit of help right now. And I created Mass Innovation Nights with my partner, Dan Englander from High Rock Media. And he did a website for us. We started looking at how social media could be used to create a very low expense event. We spent $28.95 bringing the first event to market. And we had 168 people at that event.
Right. So let's talk about that point a little bit about the social media as it creates and brings people into physical events. And I think not only for Mass Inno, but also I would contend that it's a basis for a lot of grassroots growth and events going on, which I can speak to in the technology software area here in Boston, that I think is gaining a lot of steam, more so than I think a lot of people outside of it really realize, but I think it's getting interesting. So can you kind of speak to, I know that you were at the 140 conference recently, but just how that has helped.
Originally, Mass Innovation Nights was conceived as a tweet up, and we knew that social media would make it easy to collect people together, communicate with them, and it would also be free. We like free.
Right.
We especially like free when we have no budget. And also Twitter is made for local events because right up top, you have the person's name, you have what they do, they have their location. And so I can very easily see who in the local area is talking about my topic. And when I originally started creating the Mass Innovation Nights Twitter account, it was very easy for me to see, oh, this person's talking about innovation and they're in the local area. Let's follow them. Let's talk to them. Let's invite them to our event. And very quickly we had a core of people that were interested in innovation and were interested in cross-industry innovation and seeing how industries could interact.
Right, I think that's something that's kind of starting to pick up a little bit. You know, what can the software technology company that's focused in marketing do for a biotech company or a clean tech company? But talking more about, so who are the attendees of Massino? And
they're mostly, I mean, who do you expect? Social media mavens, you know, the people who I can communicate with easily, who are able to be reached via social media. But we get service providers, we get entrepreneurs who want to see what's coming up and coming, we get people who work for large companies that want to see what's going on in their industry. We get students, we get people who are looking for jobs, and we're encouraging all of those people to attend the events because our primary goal for these events is to create visibility for the companies.
Right.
So if you don't have a job, you're actually probably of more use to that whole goal of creating visibility because you have a little bit of time on your hands and you're getting out there and maybe you've got time to blog or you've got time to do some activities which will help promote the companies that are
right, and on
showing their new
the
products.
companies when you're trying to recruit, when you're in startup mode, sometimes it's most helpful just to kind of, at these events, to throw a flag up and have people come up to you instead of going through costly recruiting efforts or these kinds of things which eat up a lot of time in addition to, depending on how you're doing it.
Just last night I was at Job Knob, which is an event that connects people who are looking for jobs with startups that need people but probably can't pay for them right now. So bringing those two groups together, if the people who are looking for jobs can help the startups kind of get over that hump, they might be in a position to hire.
Well, that's just a classic example of the other things that are kind of out here with open coffees that are available. There's many of those. Talk to, for people who are kind of just getting into kind of this, where the events are, what are kind of things, and what
Well, I actually usually tell people, I said, go look at Greenhorn Connect, go look at Venture Fizz, go look at the Mass High Tech calendar, go look at BostonTweetup.com. They've got great calendars there. I could be out every night of the week.
Right.
And sometimes I am. But you could definitely be out multiple days every week visiting people who are doing entrepreneurial ventures, and they don't have to be very expensive events either. The vast majority of these, at least the ones that I attend, are actually free.
Right.
The Nerd Center has done a great job in terms of opening up its doors to people who are running events. The IBM Innovation Center hosted multiple events of ours, didn't charge me anything for it because they wanted the foot traffic. We're looking at other locations for our event as well. This month, in October, we'll be downtown out on Fan Pier at Mass Challenge. And again, they're giving me the space for free. They want people in the door. They want the foot traffic.
And is this also additional from the mayor's directive of the Innovation District and getting that moving in?
Get people down on Fan Pier looking around and saying, hey, this is cool. I can see my company down here.
Right.
Or maybe this isn't that hard to get to.
Right.
Hey, I can get out to Waltham. At first, when I was holding the event in Waltham, people are like, where? You want me to go where? You want me to leave the confines of Cambridge? Yeah, I do. I want you out on 128. I want you to leave the comfort of your desk or your cubicle and get out there and talk to people one-on-one.
Interesting. Another thing I think is interesting is how we talk about the social media. A lot of this just kind of people rolling up their sleeves, doing more with less. Maybe that has to do with some of the macroeconomics that we're involved with. We all share, right? But it's also, I think, that's where innovation happens, right? And I think one of the interesting things is certainly there's great work from Scott Kersner at the Globe, but a lot of the press that is kind of this community has been generated by the community. These you're saying things like Venture Fizz, Greenhorn Connect, or Boston Innovation. What are your thoughts on that kind of, from your experience with PR, this kind of, I think they're more than bloggers. It's like this kind of grassroots publishing thing that's growing.
Yeah.
And now there's also ways for that to be funded by things like buy-sell ads, which I know sells the inventory on Boston Innovation.
Well, there's the whole change in the media that happened when we all became capable of being our own publishers.
Right.
And as a longtime PR person, it was in the mid-90s, I had this epiphany, oh my gosh, my job is going to change. My whole career path has been interacting with the media and providing clear, concise messages to the media. Who needs the media anymore? I can be the media. It didn't happen quite as quickly as I thought it would, but I immediately started changing how I perceived my career. I had always been of the PR itself is better, faster, stronger, cheaper. I'm going to be, a PR bigot for the rest of my life. And suddenly in the mid-90s, I had to rethink that whole position and say, I need to be looking at integrated marketing. I need to be looking at web-based marketing because that's how you're reaching people. And so, shifting things, it took a long time for me to move my career so that I wasn't just a PR person anymore, that I was looking at more marketing that was integrated with the whole mass of public relations, direct mail, advertising, online marketing, a lot of the analytic stuff. You can see where the traffic and the interest is coming from. So, why would you want to go out to the media where you tend to lose a little bit of control of your own message?
Right. Well, I think that's just an interesting story there, is just how during the, let's say that's mid-90s to now, 15 years of this kind of, where you could see very early that this change was kind of occurring, but and then just the rapid acceleration, let's say, Google AdWords isn't that old, it's a little, let's say it's 6 years old, roughly, right? And how the change of the CMO today, has so many more things that they need to be kind of cognizant of and schooled in. And schooled in, right? And and then also having this other ability to, where I think more and more companies, especially SMBs specifically, are learning more that you are a company, but you also have the opportunity to be your own media company as well, which does have its own advantages.
Direct to your audience. It's like you have the ability to talk directly with the people that you want to talk to, which is one reason I think that the events have really started to spike. We're seeing more and more companies doing their own events because they want to communicate their audience directly.
Right.
So, and now with social media, they have the ability to do that, cost effectively within a budget. And so they're taking that opportunity. Tools like Eventbrite, tools like Twitter are allowing them to communicate with their audience.
Right. I think that they're also understanding that you have to have good content or a good something.
You have to offer something.
You have to offer something, whether it's information value or something, which is as old as any kind of marketing initiative. But I think that that's something I think that when people are thinking about how to use Twitter or social media for business, I don't think people are thinking about that you're moving people into physical spaces, which I think a lot of it is.
Yeah. It's funny. I've always told people, they're like, oh, why did you get into events and when did you get into events? And I have to admit that events is something I avoided for the vast majority of my career. I really don't like running events. Events is actually a very specialized field in marketing. And I literally have avoided events my entire career. And all of a sudden I find myself running a very well-known event, but I don't think of it as an event. I think of it as the physical manifestation of the community and how the community works together to promote the common good.
Right.
So what I did was I created a community that gets together to help each other. For example, the voting on our website. When you look at how we choose the presenters, we have 10 companies every month with a new product. And they think they're competing for a speaking slot. What they're really doing is collectively promoting the event.
Right. And
so they're working together. Right.
Yeah,
and the more people that they each individually promote the event to, the better it is for all of them.
Right.
If I tell you, go to the website and vote for my company, you're not only voting for my company, you're voting for 3 other companies. So you're taking a look at those 3 companies.
Right.
Ooh, I've learned about 3 new products. And hey, this looks like a cool event. I'm going to go to this event. While you're there, you run into somebody who needs a job. You need a person that you want to hire that person, or a potential partner, or drinking buddy.
Right,
I don't care.
and even also, exactly, right. There's plenty of those that they ask it. And then also, I feel like the kind of, I don't know what you call it, the sidebar or the area where we've got, you can go and get some advice from people for
The experts corner.
The experts corner,
Yep.
right? So talk to a little bit more about who's usually there, the kinds of people that are there.
So the experts corner is populated by 5 service providers, and they could be anything from a CFO or a finance person to a lawyer. We've had marketing people, we've had search engine optimization experts, we've had bloggers, we've had speaking and presentation experts. I'm trying to think of who's coming up next month, and of course I'm scheduling things a few months out, so I
Sure.
can't remember. But we've had a wide variety of service providers who are there providing advice to the entrepreneurs. And they're helping to promote the event overall.
Exactly. So in that line of help, if experts that are interested, how do they get involved? Do they send you an email?
No, it's the same way that we find companies with new products. There's literally a tab on the website that says submit a product, and I tell people that expertise is a product as well. You just submit the same way. So that's how we get our experts. And actually, along those lines, the submit a product tab is literally how I find the next innovations and the new products. Literally, it's a queue. I don't make value judgments, and I have to admit there are some times when I look at a product and I just don't understand it. I am not the target market.
Right.
I look at it and go, you've totally lost me. I have no idea what that's used for, but I'm not your target market. And those are invariably the products that someone will come up to me during the course of the evening and say, oh, that product you didn't understand, it's perfect for me.
Right.
I love that product. I'm like, oh, that's good. I have no idea what it is, but that's good. It's good for you.
So where do we take, where would you say we are now in the community, in Massachusetts innovation, New England innovation today, and where do you see, which we've kind of talked about is growing some momentum. Where do you see it going? Then maybe just kind of go there and then kind of bring us back to where, how you've seen it evolve. And we were talking earlier about the kind of high-tech 128 corridor and how that's kind of changed.
Yeah.
And
Well, a couple of things. Number one, 2 years ago when I was considering Mass Innovation Nights, what I was seeing was people starting companies because they were out of work. So they were starting their own firms, and they were often working on the idea that they had bubbling in the background for years, but they had full-time jobs, and so the idea kept bubbling. So November of 2008, a whole bunch of people out of work, all of a sudden those bubbling ideas started to boil, and people were able to spend time with their ideas, and there was a whole crop of new products that were coming out in March and April of 2009 that was a result of that mass exodus really from jobs. Today, almost 2 years later, what I'm seeing is people who are choosing to leave behind jobs and benefits and paychecks, and they are becoming entrepreneurs and innovators because they've seen examples from other people. So they've seen the people who lost their jobs, who suddenly had the time and the energy and the opportunity to invest in those ideas, bringing those products to market, and they say, I can do that. So it's interesting to watch the evolution. I'm seeing more and more people who are starting new companies or starting startups.
Right, and it seems,
who are making a choice,
right,
a conscious decision.
And it seems like maybe there's also because the community is a little, people are more aware of the community, so there's kind of a come on, the water's warm.
And there's all these great opportunities and support systems in place. Mass Innovation Nights, we don't charge anybody anything. Love to be able to make a living at it. And I do worry sometimes that this plethora of free stuff gives a false sense of security to people who are starting.
Right, I would agree with that too.
It's like I've talked to entrepreneurs and startups who are literally, bringing a product to market based on 30-day free trials of the tools they need to develop that product.
Right.
It's like, oh, I've got a 30-day free trial, so my development scrum is 30 days. I got to have the product finished by then because that's when my free trial runs out of this tool. And the whole freemium model breaks down at some point when you don't have a business model that comes along with it.
Exactly, or sometimes understanding that putting price can also be something that lets you know where the market is if you're trying to make something.
And while Mass Innovation Nights is a wonderful way to connect with other people in terms of true marketing of your product, it's a drop in the bucket. And it's a free drop in the bucket, and sometimes it can get companies started and it can help them along, but it will never take the place of professional marketing people who are understanding your product, helping you with your messaging. And I do worry that people have this expectation that everything is free. So while I like to provide them everything free, I still have to kind of make a living. There's a whole mortgage involved and kids.
And so as it grows, and it being the innovation community and the things attached, I mean, for a closing thought, where do you see this going here next year, next 5 years? Just Boston. What do you see Boston Innovation next future?
Over the last 18 months, we've helped launch 180 products with Mass Innovation Nights. And of those products, we were able to help people connect with new hires, connect with partners, get visibility for their products. Some of them got customers out of the visibility. Some of them actually got customers at the event itself. And for each little drop of aid and connections, there was a benefit to that. It's the whole butterfly effect. One small action snowballs into consequences. So out of those 180 companies and 180 new products, being able to say, okay, we helped some small bit, and maybe one of those companies goes on to be the company that employs us all, or 3 years from now has 600, 1,000, 1,500 employees.
Right.
It only takes one like that.
The big linchpin company.
The big, home run, grand slam win. And so we keep adding, the little drop in the bucket, and pretty soon we're back up to a full bucket.
There we go.
So.
We'll close with that in the full bucket. So, the unsinkable Bobbie Carlton, thank you for coming.
Nice to see you. Thank you for having me.
And we'll see you around at the next, what, MIN 20 is next?
Min 19.
Min 19.
Yes, so. October 13th.
Okay, all right.
Wednesday. It's always the second Wednesday of the month.
Second Wednesdays of the month. Thank you very much.
All right.
And thanks for watching.